to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Start. Stop. That's how long it takes to react to a child crossing the street. How long would it take you to apply the brakes? How long would it take the parents to forgive you? How long would it take you to forgive yourself? Slow down. Save a life. Not only theirs, but your own. Texting, speeding, and ignoring safety rules can cost lives. Visit gov.ky/road safety to learn more and help keep our roads safe.
One radio station.
Radio Cayman is the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With a look at your latest regional news, according to Kana, I am Paul Akal. Police in the British Virgin Islands have launched an investigation into a fatal accident on Necker Island, the private resort owned by Sir Richard Branson. The incident occurred last weekend when executive sous chef Sile Somdaka, aged 35 and originally from Cape Town, South Africa, reportedly lost control of an electric buggy and sustained a fatal head injury. He was transported to the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Another individual involved in the crash suffered non-life-threatening injuries and received medical treatment. Acting Commissioner of Police Jacqueline Vanterpool expressed condolences to Somdaka's family, friends and colleagues and confirmed that the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force is conducting a full investigation. Sir Richard Branson, who was not on the island at the time, is said to be deeply saddened by the tragedy and has remained in close contact with the family and resort staff. Necker Island, a 74-acre retreat in the North Sound of Virgin Gorda, has been owned by Branson since 1979 and is known for hosting high-profile guests. The island has previously endured severe weather events, including Hurricane Irma in 2017. Authorities in Trinidad have detained 25 Venezuelan nationals during a recent immigration operation in San Fernando, South Trinidad. The group, consisting of 23 women and 2 men, was found at a former brothel during a coordinated exercise carried out last Saturday between 1 and 5:30 a.m. The operation involved officers from the Immigration Investigative Unit, Anti-Kidnapping Unit, Guard and Emergency Branch, and the Immigration Division. All detainees were handed over to the immigration officials for further processing. The latest action follows a series of similar operations. On 21st of August, police arrested 15 Venezuelans, 11 men and 4 women at 2 separate residences for illegal entry. Then, on the 28th of August, 4 more undocumented Venezuelan nationals were detained in Point Fortin during an intelligence-led initiative known as Operation Summer Slam. Officials say these exercises are part of an ongoing effort to address illegal immigration across the country. In other Trinidadian news, Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has welcomed a recent U.S. military strike on a suspected Venezuela-based drug vessel in the southern Caribbean. U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed the operation, describing it as a targeted strike against a vessel operated by the designated narco-terrorist group. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called it a lethal strike. In a message to local media, Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar expressed strong support for the U.S. action, stating she has no sympathy for traffickers and believes the mission will help reduce violence in the region. She added that illegal drugs and arms have caused widespread suffering in Trinidad and Tobago over the past 25 years. She also called for divine protection for U.S. military personnel involved in the operation, saying their efforts could save lives across the Caribbean. According to U.S. officials, the vessel was linked to the Tren de Aragua cartel and was reportedly en route to the United States. 11 people were killed in the strike. Over 2 million Jamaicans are voting today to elect a new government, with the ruling Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, aiming for a third straight term. The main contest is between the JLP and the opposition People's National Party. 189 candidates are contesting 63 parliamentary seats, though polls suggest a tighter race than in 2020 when the JLP won 49 seats. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says he's confident of victory, while PNP leader Mark Golding warns of continued poor governance if the JLP wins. Polling stations are open from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., with results expected later tonight. Observers from CARICOM, the OAS, and other international bodies are monitoring the vote. In the Bahamas, the Progressive Liberal Party has rejected a newspaper claim that former Prime Minister Sir Lyndon Pindling received $150,000 monthly from a Colombian drug trafficker. The allegation, published by the Tribune and based on a YouTube interview with a convicted trafficker in Florida, was labeled defamatory and unreliable by the PLP. The party said the story relies on hearsay and cannot be verified, as all individuals named, including Sir Lyndon and 2 businessmen, are deceased and unable to respond. Under Bahamian law, defamation of the dead is not recognized, allowing such claims to be published without legal consequence. Finally, trade union leaders in Bermuda have welcomed Premier David Burt's pledge to raise wages as the island adapts to global economic changes. Speaking at Labor Day celebrations, Burt reaffirmed the Progressive Labour Party's commitment to workers and announced an increase in the minimum hourly wage from US $16.40 to $17.13 US. He emphasized the need to prepare Bermudians for emerging technologies and the digital economy. Bermuda Industrial Union President Chris Ferbert supported the wage hike, but stressed that reducing the high cost of living, especially in housing and health insurance, is key to real progress. Bermuda Public Service Union President Arnold Thomas also backed the wage increase, but criticized the proposal to raise the public sector pension age to 70, citing health concerns. Electric Supply Union President Kevin Pilgrim called for fairer distribution of wealth, urging businesses to prioritize safe workplaces, fair pay, and respect for workers' rights. Union leaders say continued dialogue is essential to ensure economic reforms benefit all Bermudians. That's your latest regional news. According to Kana, I am Paul Akal.
Covering Little Cayman, Cayman Bride.
Cover me.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
System 1 loaded.
For the record, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 9:30, we interview the various government ministers, opposition, and Cayman Island legislators. For the record is brought to you by West Bay Pharmacy at Centennial Towers. Visit us today for fast, efficient, and professional service. Everything you need and the hours you need it at West Bay Pharmacy.
It's a ladies' night of comedy at the Laughter Lounge. Who runs the World Edition? Miss Jin from Jacksonville, Amber James from Indianapolis, and Ginny G from Los Angeles by way of Chicago take over the mic for non-stop punchlines. Friday, September 5th at the Hawkwill Theater. Doors open at 7 p.m. with the show starting at 8 p.m. sharp. Round up your crew and secure seats. Tickets available at laughcayman.com. Presented by Executive Services with Heineken Zero and Appleton. Keeping the vibes right. Big energy, bigger laughs. Buy your tickets now before they're gone. Brought to you in part by Radio Cayman.
Yesterday,
Today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Setbacks for Donald Trump in court and the joy of discovery.
Can you see it now? Oh, wow.
Eyes on the prize.
Incredible. That's incredible. Oh my God, I've got shivers.
After 80 years on the seabed, the ship that took Scots to the Antarctic is seen again. All that after the news.
Hello, I'm Govinda Gill with the BBC News. China has put on a huge display of its latest military hardware at a parade through the heart of Beijing, attended by the leaders of Russia and North Korea. Standing on Tiananmen Gate, President Xi Jinping said his country feared no one. Here's our China correspondent, Laura Bicker.
There's no doubt that President Xi's determined to create a new world order, to symbolise power and strength. However, when it comes to the three together, it is worth pointing out that these three countries have many differences. These three leaders have many differences. China is by far the senior partner in this relationship. North Korea's economy relies on China, especially for much of its food aid. Russia needs China to buy its oil and gas as it's heavily sanctioned. And that reliance rankles both Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un.
In a bilateral meeting with Kim Jong-un after the parade in Beijing, President Putin praised North Korean soldiers fighting alongside Russia against Ukraine. During talks that lasted over 2 hours, he described the North Koreans as courageous and heroic. Mr. Kim said he'd do anything he could to assist Russia. The United Arab Emirates has warned Israel that annexing the West Bank could cross a red line and undermine the spirit of the Abraham Accords that normalise relations between the two countries. Reports in the Israeli media say Benjamin Netanyahu is due to meet ministers on Thursday to discuss whether to annex parts of the occupied West Bank. Sebastian Usher reports.
This is the strongest criticism by the United Arab Emirates of Israel since the war in Gaza began. A senior Emirati official, Lana Niseba, stressed that the UAE had made preventing the possibility of Israel annexing the West Bank under a previous Netanyahu government its key condition for joining the Abraham Accords 5 years ago. She said that such a move now would be the death knell of the two-state solution and mean there could be no lasting peace, adding that extremists of any kind could not be allowed to dictate the future of the region.
Anti-government protesters in Israel have set fire to cars, tyres and rubbish bins in Jerusalem, some near the home of the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. 13 demonstrators were arrested after climbing onto the roof of the National Library. This woman explained why they'd chosen the location to protest.
The National Library is located in front of the Knesset, and we wanted the decision makers, the politicians, to look into the eyes of those who've been fighting and the hostages' families and hear our demand that we want the hostages home, even if the price is ending the war.
The Israeli Justice Minister condemned their actions as terrorism. World news from the BBC. The leader of a local armed group in Sudan says about 100 bodies have been recovered from a landslide in a remote area in the western region of Darfur. The group has warned that up to 1,000 people may have died when heavy rains triggered a landslide in the Jebel Mara Mountains, burying the village of Tarasin. The World Food Programme has warned it only has enough money to feed the victims of Sunday's devastating earthquake in eastern Afghanistan for 4 weeks. The head of the UN agency in Kabul, John Aliff, told the BBC international funding cuts were severely affecting the response to the disaster.
The most critical challenge is actually not logistical, it is funding. Afghanistan has been the victim of funding cuts over the past few months, and this has compromised our ability to respond. For the World Food Programme, we can afford to feed these people stricken by the earthquake for 4 weeks only, and after that the pipeline dries up. That's not enough to meet their immediate needs. It's also not enough to put them on any sort of road to rebuilding their lives.
The European Union's second highest court has upheld an agreement governing the transfer of personal data between the EU and the United States. The court ruled the framework, which was adopted by the European Commission 2 years ago, offered adequate protection. A French MP had argued the US court meant to safeguard the system from abuses, including potentially by US intelligence, was neither impartial nor independent. Jamaica is holding a general election. The closely...
We are Radio Cayman.
Covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman and Grand Cayman.
1 in a million.
Hey folks, thanks for your patience. We'll be taking off very shortly. Should be wheels up in about 40 minutes. And due to a bumpy ride, snacks and beverage service has been suspended. AC has given us some trouble. Sorry, folks. And Wi-Fi is out. And so is the entertainment. Yeah, I'm sorry about the smell, folks. We are aware.
I know.
Just one more quick note. We are going to have to deplane.
Come on!
We're like the plane ride that isn't a nightmare. CG Britgay. Good like that.
Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio K-Man app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiokman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio K-Man.
Good evening with a recap of the day's top stories from the Radio Cayman newsroom. I'm Jevi Ebanks. The Cayman Islands government has announced that a hiring freeze on all non-essential public sector roles, citing serious financial concerns, will continue through December. Officials warns that without urgent cost-cutting measures, the government could run out of funds by the end of the year. This move is part of a broader effort to stabilize the budget as rising operational costs and slower than expected revenue growth have put pressure on public finances. While essential services will continue, the freeze is expected to delay new projects and strain existing departments. The decision has sparked debate over long-term sustainability and the need for a deeper fiscal reform. Samar Nepali is facing a charge of indecent assault and will appear in Grand Court later this month. Though the details of the allegation remain undisclosed, Mr. Nepali opted to elevate the case to the Grand Court, where the magistrate ruled there was enough evidence to proceed. The matter has now been formally committed to the Grand Court, with Nepali scheduled to return on the 19th of September at 11:30 a.m. Elvis Bush was arrested over the weekend following a chaotic encounter with police in Georgetown. Officers found him appearing unconscious or asleep in a parked car, and when approached, he tried to drive away, leading to charges of being in control of a vehicle while intoxicated. During the arrest, Bush allegedly struck an officer and later made threats while in custody. He pled guilty to multiple charges, including assault and disorderly conduct, and was granted bail under strict conditions, including random alcohol testing and a nightly curfew. He's due back in court on the 9th of September. Starting tomorrow, folks in the eastern districts will have a new travel option as a section of the East-West Agricola Road opens. Minister of Infrastructure, the Honorable J. Ebanks, says the new roundabout at the junction of Hearst Road is only temporary as work continues. He advises the public that the new road is currently with a temporary chip and spray surface and asks drivers to keep to the posted speed limit. That's a recap of the day's top stories. I'm Jevi Ebanks. Have a good night.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman Information Hour.
For today's biggest news.
April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
I'm Karsley Fuller.
I'm Dion Anglin.
Jevi Ebanks, Radio Cayman News.
I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Are you feeling overwhelmed, sad, stressed out, or suicidal and need support? Call 1-800-534-6463. K-Mind, Mental Health Helpline. It's okay to ask for help. K-Mind Mental Health Helpline, available from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Friday. It's free and confidential support and guidance on your emotional and psychological health.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
It's a ladies' night of comedy at the Laughter Lounge. Who runs the World Edition? Miss Jin from Jacksonville, Amber James from Indianapolis, and Ginny G from Los Angeles by way of Chicago take over the mic for non-stop punchlines. Friday, September 5th at the Hawkwell Theater. Doors open at 7 p.m. with the show starting at 8 p.m. sharp. Round up your crew and secure seats. Tickets available at laughcayman.com. Presented by Executive Services with Heineken Zero and Appleton. Keeping the vibes right. Big energy, bigger laughs. Buy your tickets now before they're gone. Brought to you in part by Radio Cayman.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.